Yes.
Because yeah, I'm getting that. A pastor called me, and then my cousin said her login was different. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, what
So I
happened was that, well, what happened was that a month ago I registered and I went this morning trying to check and see if it was in my email. It wasn't in my email. So then I sent something around 10. It never sent the confirmation to my email. So then just now
huh.
I sent it again and they said, send, we'll send it confirmation to your email. And then I had to push resend, but then I noticed it did come up twice. So that's how I was able to get on. So it was quite a few steps. What might work in the future is like when you're like, if you had like, unless you're worried about bombers or whatever, to just maybe have the Zoom link right there at the advertisement. I don't know. And
Well,
I don't know.
no,
And then I just sort of
normally it sends you the link and everything. Those that even participate regularly said it didn't do what it normally did. So I need
yeah, well, I didn't
out.
see that today, but it was funny because I remember, see, you don't even remember me. Let me refresh your memory and bring some smiles to your face right away. You and I originally met through our dear, precious Bernie Dorman at
Oh,
CEO
okay.
Space. I look different. Got the little blonde thing going on, got my teeth is fixed, lost a little bit of weight, so I look totally different. But I met you first through Bernie Dorman at CEO Space. And
Okay.
of course, I know that all put us off guard during COVID when he passed away and everything,
It
because
blew us away.
it
Girl, did
blew
you
us
happen to
away.
sit in on the funeral dedication?
Did I? Absolutely.
Girl,
And
you
it
ever
was
seen a
awesome.
Zoom go dang near 8 hours?
Yes, he was like a celebrity. I mean, like Aretha Franklin,
Yes,
hers
yes,
was
yes.
10 hours and and then, yeah, because remember the girl Tabitha, Tammy or whatever, she sang and everything.
Uh-huh.
He
Uh-huh.
used to
We had a
always
whole
like her.
service.
Yes, yes. And it was so fitting for him. And I've talked to September a couple times afterwards. She was doing some AI stuff.
Let
So
me
I
just
kind of,
check and make sure this isn't someone else.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hello? Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So yeah, so yes, that was awesome. And I was just saying, fast forward, I you know, did a little bit of corresponding back and forth with September. She had an AI guy about maybe 7 months ago that blew away her Zoom. She said it was the first time she'd had so many participants since the Bernie days. And he wasn't really doing Zoom anyway. It was like live. We were going all over the place just to see him, Las Vegas. And one of his faculty members it was just awesome. And then you had something called Conversation and you had something that you were doing it for $4.95 a month. Remember that?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so I had participated on that because I remember teasing you saying that your subtitle should be "There's a grant for that," because
Yeah.
every time people would be online telling you this or telling you that or this nonprofit, you were like, "There's a grant for that," and so I wanted to, and I had been thinking about you, and I was wondering, I wonder what she's up to in the grants field, and I'd also talked about you to Peggy Marsh. She's with Sisters to Sisters Network, and so am I, and we were like, I wonder what Sherita's up to in the grant sphere. So I see you have master classes. That's awesome. And I think this is a good way to give people a taste of what you're doing because since then, our nonprofit has grown exponentially
Uh-huh.
as far as the funding. We work with child hunger.
Wait, do you mind let's getting this on the recording?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's see. Oh, it was on. I didn't realize I already had it
Oh,
going.
okay. So, like I was saying, it's really, really good to reconnect with you. You were very inspiring to me at that time, and now I'm looking for that extra motivation and also to see how I can help you. Because I remember when you were always talking about stuff and I was telling you about how I was good. One of my lane of brilliances was in being able to find the grants, which is really good. Just being able to look for the grants. And you were always so clear. So we could talk a little bit on the back and I kind of want to see what you want to offer today. Then I want to tell you where I am. Our nonprofit is growing exponentially. We made, we met that $1 million mark and and that was good.
What are your
And now
services so that our
our main
listeners will know?
services, yeah, I don't think you would remember. We fight child hunger. We was providing weekend meals to low income kids to make sure they don't go to bed hungry over the weekend. And
Okay.
we were doing this in partnership with Montgomery County, Maryland public schools. So the
Okay.
teachers would give a list of the needy kids. We would send out permission slips. Parents would sign it, opt in. More, I think nobody ever opted out. And we would bring X amount of kid-friendly, nutritious, non-perishables into the school. And each kid was discreetly handed a food sack on Friday, right before they boarded the bus to take home for weekend consumption. So
Mhm.
now when they came back to school on Monday, they were able to focus and learn because
Right.
you can't learn if you're hungry. And I remember Bernie was going to be doing some really, really great stuff for me. He had me making these flyers, feed hungry kids. And you know how he would put people in the middle with a hat on or something like that, and we'd go around, so he was really, really, really interested in that. And then COVID happened, and then his what is viewed, by me, his untimely, demise happened. Although I know everything happens for a reason, even though I don't understand or necessarily approve, we still have to accept. So anyway, now, and we also working with women that are abused in domestic violence. But now we're
What's the
pushing
name of
back
your organization? So
women
people
who,
know.
Women Who Care Ministries,
Women
and
Who Care
we're in the
Ministries.org or
DMV,
.com?
Women Who Care Ministries.org.
.org. Okay.
And so we provide safety net services. We partner with people. And one of the things I do, Sherita, is wanting to get some webinars together, how to tell people, teach people, and this might be something that rings a bell with you, how to teach people how to build a multi-million-dollar nonprofit from scratch.
Let's bring you on the air. Let's
That's
bring you on my broadcast.
okay, great. Let's do it. Because that's
Yeah.
one of the things I've been able to do. I've been able to build a multi-million-dollar nonprofit from scratch. Didn't have two pennies to rub together, and that's why, one of my little sing songs is, we ain't broke no more, no more. We ain't broke no more.
Hey, like it.
From 7 cents to seven figures, we ain't broke no more. But
I
showing
like
other,
I like it. So
from
after
seven.
this, I want to talk to you about getting you on the air. Matter of
Okay,
fact, send me an email to send you the link to my calendar for the broadcast.
okay. And what email should I use?
Sherita at philanthropyalliance.org.
You look good.
Beverly, I think we had talked about bringing you on to talk about why you even want to do your nonprofit for the caregivers and that kind of thing. So
Oh,
Beverly, if you haven't sent anything yet, send me an email about being on the air, Beverly,
about being on the air. What?
on my podcast,
Oh my goodness.
okay. So
Okay.
that's Sherita at
philanthropyalliance.org. And I can let me put it in the chat also. Let's see.
Oh, I got it. Yep. Yeah. And I was looking
Okay.
around on your website, and so yeah, but I want to, and now even with that, what we do now, we're as I get younger, now I'm looking at doing some more, still empowering. We empower under our umbrellas empowerment. So now what we're doing, the ministry is taking a shift to not just empowering with food and domestic violence and helping people overcome substance abuse, but also empowering through like financial literacy, subsidized housing, but also empowering the target population now shifts. It's no longer just low income folk, but even women and men in the upper echelon of society can benefit from, the empowerment of, reaching your goals, the self-care piece, and all of that. So
I'm glad
we're
that
looking.
excuse me for interrupting, but I'm glad that you are mentioning that it's not only low income, because
Exactly.
oftentimes people think that when you step into the nonprofit sphere that it only has to be low income, the very lowest of the low that you.
Disadvantaged. Yeah.
But like one of my clients out of Paris, she focuses on women that are high earning, but they're stressed, they're
Yes.
lonely, they're, all these things. See,
Depressed. Yeah. Yeah.
yes. And so her organization also has focuses on empowering those women also. And so another real estate client out of Los Angeles, during the time after Katrina, and so many people, even during that 2008 down economy, had lost homes and that kind of thing. So she was developing like a higher upper echelon B&B for individuals to come and stay and not hurt
Yes.
self-esteem worse because they're on a cot next to a homeless person, right? And so
Yes.
it's about addressing a need. And so, but let me get to these questions before my
Oh yeah,
time.
yeah. Let's do that. Yeah.
So now Hattie from Philadelphia, she says,
I'm sorry, Sherita. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, say that again, dear.
Okay, it's Beverly. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I'm gonna go on to my appointment. But you said to write to you about being on the podcast. Well, that's our first time having this conversation, so I guess we'll have a conversation.
Yes, just send me that and I'll send you some information about
Okay.
it.
Sounds good. All right. Have a great day,
you.
you two ladies.
I look forward to meeting you.
Me too.
Getting to know you, Beverly. Where do you
Yes.
live? Where do you
I
live?
live in Tampa,
Oh,
Florida.
Tampa, Florida.
Mhm, mhm.
I might come to the Joyce Meyer conference, and if so, I'll connect
Oh,
with
in
you.
September. Okay, I've been there before.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, if you come down, well, I'll put my number in the chat
Oh,
Okay.
please
and
do.
just capture it. Okay, and that's what I'll do. I'll do that and then
Yeah.
I'll go.
Thank you, Bev.
Thank you,
Can I do
Okay.
it?
Beverly.
Thank you. Am
See?
I able to chat? I'm not sure if I can chat here. Do you give us
Yeah.
chat?
Just go down to the Zoom, go to the Zoom
Oh,
icon, and then you'll
okay.
see the chat there.
Yeah, I see it there. Okay, I'm gonna put my number in there, Judy. Give me a call.
I will, I promise. Thank you.
Okay,
So
great.
see, yeah, it's power in it's not power in numbers, it's power in presence.
Power in
Yes,
presence.
yes, yes.
Yes, I'm writing that down too. I'm always coming
Yes.
with these slogans.
Yes.
Yeah, power in
All right.
presence, just who's
Y'all,
here.
y'all
Thank
have
you.
a
Thank you
great
again,
day.
Beverly. Have a great
Okay.
weekend.
You
Thank
too
you.
now. Bye-bye. Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so now Hattie in Philadelphia sent in a question. She says, we have an LLC with 10 partners. Each has her own business enterprise. How should we handle the money? Each keep their own budget? Well, first, what was the reason for developing the LLC? And is the LLC generating dollars in itself because of what you're doing? Or are you all of you just under this umbrella and working your own business? If the LLC is generating income in itself because of something that you're doing and the revenue is going into a bank account, you would just split that equally or whichever way that you guys have agreed. But if you're operating
Okay.
separately under your own businesses, then you're just keeping your own revenue and doing what you need to with your own business. And but again, I wish you were on, Hattie, because my question would be, what is the purpose of the LLC, unless it's just an umbrella for you guys to have an entity? So, but yes, so that's the answer to that. And I wish you were on. So if you had anything else to add to that. Cassandra out of Chicago says, need info about for a nonprofit grants. Well, again, if you were on, because that's such a vague question for all of you. If you're just in a Google search, let me just kind of branch out and go over to a Google search. And let's see, go to a Google screen. I'm going to share my screen. Nope. So, for instance, simple ways to search. You can just type in grants, comma, and so let's talk about, that the food program. And you notice I put quotes around it because what that does is that locks your words together so that you don't bring up one program that has food safety and another program that has unsafe food and another one so this way you lock those words together and then just press enter and it'll bring up grant funders that fund for that particular subject matter. Simple searches just like that shows you all the funders that you may want to see. Okay. We can switch out food programs since I don't know what kind of program you have. Let's say it's women's empowerment. Press enter. It brings up a whole nother pot of grant funders. Okay. If you want to make sure that you don't bring up old funders, put in 2024.
And that would
And
include old and new.
Now, well, you won't bring up funders this way back in 2020 or 2019. You notice these are all saying 2024. Because if you didn't put the year, you might bring up old funders. So this is how you can find funding. Let's say that you want a reading program. Now it brings up funders for reading programs. So a lot of people just don't even know that you can do these kinds of simple searches that will show you different grant funders. Let's say that you want the bigger dollars. Let's type in million. 150 million reading program. Let's see. $4.2 million reading program for STEM or STEAM. Summer reading program receives $1.2 million grant. WW Extension, 1.2 million. So there's different ways that you can search that will bring up the kinds of grants that you have an interest in. Okay, let's see, go back over. Come on, trying to get back to my questions. So that was, let's see, it was Hattie, and then that was Cassandra's first question. Her second question, will government grants help for homeless in Illinois? Absolutely, Illinois. So let's just show you. Let's take this out and put in homeless. Now, because we're doing homeless, we're just gonna, it's not multiple words. President's budget, 3.7 billion. Oh, let's put in Illinois. Spell it right, Sherita. So see, it brings up funding for homeless and homeless youth, emergency solutions. So just simple searches like this. See, finding grant money is not the difficult thing. The important thing, and I don't even mean to use the word difficult. It's important to know how to submit for the grant. What is the language? What do they mean when they ask in the executive summary? What do you say there? What do you say in the needs statement? What do you say in the program, the part that's called your program description? So it's about understanding the questions in the grant to make sure that you write the grant accordingly. Okay. So let's see, let's go back over to the questions. The next question is, how do you start a foundation? Well, if you want, and for those listening, a foundation is nothing but a nonprofit. It could be the Herring Foundation. It could be the Cassandra and Family Foundation. And again, you're wanting to become a 501c3 if you're doing programs as a public charitable organization. Now, other foundations are private that give the dollars. So in order to become a tax exempt organization, you must complete the form 1023. Form 1023 that can be found at irs.gov, and it's a 30-page application. And so now, a lot of people say, well, Sherita, I've heard that in order to do a nonprofit, it could take up to 2 years to get it developed. Well, what people haven't told you is when they have applied for their tax exempt status, they kept getting turned down by the IRS, and that's why it took them so long. But people don't usually share that with you. Our average in getting people approved is 30 to 90 days. Let me show you, share a video where one of our clients is talking about getting his tax exemption. Let's see. Also have congratulations to Mr. James Wiggins. James, tell them what happened just this past week. Why is it not showing right? Let's see. What's happening? Also have congratulations to Mr. James Wiggins. James, tell them what happened just this past week.
Well, I'm not much on Valentine's Day, but it just so happened I received a Valentine's Day gift from myself. And that gift was that I received a letter of determination.
I don't know why it's not paying right. This is crazy. Let's see.
It was issued on February the 2nd. We didn't apply until January the 29th. 4 days later, my letter was issued. And if I didn't know any better, I thought I was playing a practical joke on myself. I walked in circles for a little bit at the post office because I knew they said it would take at least 90 days or more. Once I realized the letter was real, I'm walking home, and the first person I called was our coach. And that blessing I received, I shared with her as well. And it was kind of like the gift that keeps giving. And I'm just honored to have had her to coach me through and to see the results.
Well, and congratulations again, James. So, again, a lot of times people, the reason why it takes a long time for a lot of people when they're having trouble getting their tax exemption, again, because the IRS will keep answering questions and asking you questions, and you'll do that back and forth. And that's why it has taken a lot of people a long time to get their approval. Judy, how long did it take you to get yours? I didn't do your nonprofit, but how long did it take you?
Actually, I got the expedited. So it was back in 2006, and I had worked for a law firm, so I knew that you could do something called an expedited. So I got the paperwork ready, but then I did an expedited letter saying that if I didn't get the 1023, if I didn't get that ratification soon, I was going to lose some money. So I had a letter from a young lady who was going to pay us $2,500, but she said that we must be 501c3 nonprofit status to get it. I attached that letter, and that's called an expedited 501c3. And it would have, and they were promising back then to give it to you in 2 to 3 days, because the gentleman who was handling my case was transitioning to another department. Actually, he was retiring. It took me 2 to 3 weeks. So yes, and I don't know if they still do expedited, but
they do, because we've gotten them in it took out that one took 8 days, but
okay.
they still do the expedite.
Yeah,
because
and you have to show proof that you have to get it right now, because other than that, you'll lose potential funding.
Yes, because that client was getting a bus donated, and they needed to get the bus off their lot by a certain date.
Yes,
so we were able to get that expedite. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
good. Yep. So good. I'm glad to know that because this was 2006 when we got ours. This person with the bus, was that recent, like in 2022 or something? Was that recent? Oh, good. So that's good to know, because
they were 2021, I think. I think it was 2020.
Oh, good. So that's good to know that expedited is still available. Yeah, because I worked I worked in the exempt organization aspect of a law firm, so I knew that they existed. Yes.
Yes, because James, when we did his application just recently, they give you that option. Are you needing an expedite?
So, did he need an expedite?
No, he didn't need
it. Oh, okay.
We just got it approved quick. Now, Charlotte from Alice, Texas, I didn't even know there was a part of Texas called Alice. She says, how do nonprofits work? Well, if you didn't know it was a nonprofit, if it's running well, you would know whether it's a nonprofit or not. For instance, a lot of people don't realize that even IKEA, the furniture store, is a nonprofit. The NFL was a nonprofit. They changed their status in 2015. The National Hockey League is a nonprofit. Now understand that these leagues, even the PGA, is a nonprofit. The league is a nonprofit, not the individual teams. NASA is a nonprofit. A lot of your fire departments are nonprofits. Hospitals, unless they say privately owned, are nonprofits. Credit unions are nonprofits. I mean, on and on and on. It's just most people don't realize how entrenched the United States is as far as the nonprofit arena. The nonprofit arena is one of the industries that truly help the United States to be the nation that it is. And so, so that's when the questions are vague, I almost don't know how else to answer them. The second question, how can I help families with new spinal cord injuries? Well, if what do you want to do with them? Are you wanting to come in and help with physical therapy? Are you wanting, depending on, I don't know what it is that you're planning to do, but there are grants, like you said, Judy, there is a grant for that, but you have to be specific in what it is that you want to do. So there is funding for you to go in and do physical therapy. A lot of the organizations that people are utilizing now, even going into hospitals, those are organizations that are contracting with that hospital to do the physical therapy work. My aunt, who's in hospice right now, she also is going through physical therapy to just help her left hand to move again because she's had a stroke. And so I would need to know who the organization is, what they're doing, because this is through the senior facility where she is. But these are physical therapy therapists that are coming in that's probably operating under their own independent 501c3, for instance. Okay. And then the third question, how to write an executive summary. Well, the executive summary is just a synopsis of what your entire proposal is about. Think of a cover letter for a resume. Your cover letter is just giving bits and pieces of what the reader is going to see in your actual resume. And that's exactly what an executive summary is. Think about a cover letter for a resume as an explanation of what goes into an executive summary of a grant application. Gloria from Stockton, California asked, how do you get help with the 501c3 filing? Well, you're talking to the right person. If you would like to work with me, I am offering a 501c3 masterclass that's coming up at the end of March. And it's a 6-week class, 2 hours per week. And at the end of that masterclass, your your application, I walk you through submitting that application into the IRS portal. Okay. Question 2, are grants given to corporations without a 501c3? Very few. Now, when there is a crisis like what happened with COVID-19, and even a lot of individuals got those small grants from the government, that's to keep an economy moving, and they call it stimulus funding. But when it's when we're not in a crisis, most grant funding goes to 501c3 organizations, because the funder, which is like an investor, they want to be able to write the dollars off. And if you're not a 501c3, which is a tax exempt organization, then they don't get the write-off. Okay. Joyce in Los Angeles. Hi, Joyce. Joyce and I worked together for years. And Joyce says, seeking a grant to attain my master's degree. So now, Joyce, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to, I'm going to do a search. I'm going to show my screen again. Let's see. 1 sec. And Judy, you can feel free to chime in since it's just you and I. You can feel free to chime in if you like on, also because with any questions. Let's see. So, share screen. Okay, so Joyce, I'm typing in grants, comma, higher education. Now, most grants, when it's for school, they call them scholarships, or you might be under Pell Grants or anything like that. But now let's also type in women, because Tolbert's clothing store used to give grants to women over 35 to go back to school. And so there may be other organizations like that. Let's see. College grants and scholarships for women. And this is under Lending Tree. Free tuition money, education grants for women in schools, scholarships for women. So Joyce, use this search command that you see here, grants, comma, higher education, make sure you put in quotes, and then women, and you will get the same screen that I'm getting here. Grant opportunities for women, 8 scholarships and grants for women going back to school, all about college grants for women. So, you know, it goes on and on. All righty. Let's pause that, go back over to my screen. That's Joyce's only question. Yvette from Fairburn, Georgia says, which would you recommend, transitioning a for-profit business to a nonprofit or starting a nonprofit from scratch? Well, Yvette, that depends on, now I always say you should have a for-profit and a nonprofit, but your for-profit doesn't have to be a corporation. You can be operating as a sole proprietor as your for-profit and then have a nonprofit corporation, because all nonprofits are corporations. And so now I have had clients where they just decided, you know what, I'm more of a social entrepreneur, and we turned their for-profit corporation into a nonprofit. Or you can, again, you can keep both. Okay. Question 2, when is your next nonprofit class? It's coming up at the end of this month, and everyone that's registered here, I will send you out the information for my next nonprofit masterclass. And I will be offering the same special offer that I did a few months ago when I did it for Black Friday, and it's going to be $350 instead of the $650. Okay. Do you have a mentees class? Oh, where I coach. I used to have a coaching session that happened monthly, and it was with groups, but I can coach individually, and just give me a call. Call me at 501-499-6171. Again, that's 501-499-6171. That is not a text number. Please do not text me. I do not text for business. Okay. If you guys have any other, as far as something that you need me to see or ask a question, always email me and send it to Sherita@philanthropyalliance.org. And I already posted that in the chat. Okay. Norris in Rancho Cucamonga, California says, this is all new to me. What are the basic steps to grant writing for church community outreach ministry? Well, first, if you're going to be writing grants for programs that's operating beyond the doors of the church, do not call it ministry. It is a program. See, again, always depending on what you're doing, you have to use the language for that. When you're saying ministry, even grant funders will think that you are only doing programs that are within the church, and grant funders do not want to fund for you to grow your church. But if you are operating programs outside of the church, then it is a program, and it's for community. It's for your church members and community. And let's see. So the steps for that, I also would recommend that you have a nonprofit that is separate from your church charter. Like my church in Los Angeles, California, Free Will Missionary Baptist Church, we developed the Free Will Community Development Corporation. And that's how we ended up getting a computer lab built on the second floor at the church. We got a full-fledged recording studio, digital recording studio put into the church. We got roof done on the church, got an elevator put in the church, because we had to make sure that those utilizing the programs, even if they had any kind of disability, we had an elevator put in. So because we were doing programs that were extending outside of the church, we were also able to enhance the church to be able to support those programs. Okay. And let's see. Are there various types of grant writing applications? Well, yes, all grant funders have their own applications, but once you understand the components of grant writing, you can write any kind of grant, whether it's a government grant with a whole lot of pages, or a simple 3-page letter, which is what they call an LOI, a letter of intent. Okay. How or who can I get to assist me writing and templates, or possibly writing? Well, again, I have a masterclass, a grant writing masterclass. The current one is going on right now. We're already in class 3, but if you get on my database or my Facebook, Beverly Hills to Barnyard, you will always be updated on the information that that I'm providing and when I'm having my next classes. I'm going to put in the chat to get on my database if you're not on it already. And that way you will receive emails for when I am holding any classes or just sending out grant information or whatever. So I'm going to put that in the chat. I'm doing that right now. And if you use that and go and register on my website, you will receive the ongoing information that we send out about classes and everything else. Okay. Winnie from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. What daycare grants are available in Winston-Salem? Well, we're just going to go and do that simple search, my dear. Let's see. See, so again, grants, comma, childcare. Winston-Salem. And look at that. Grants daycare in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Grants daycare in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. See? Family child care scholarships, grants, daycare. Now, don't limit yourself to Winston-Salem. Let's just say North Carolina. Okay. Governor Cooper, that was in 2022, announces 655 million. Let's put 2024 there. Okay. So you, again, a simple search just like this, my dear. Let's go back over to my questions. Let's see. Next, she said, Winnie says, how do you search for grants? Well, we just took care of that question. Is there how to, let's see, is there a how to on filling out the application? Well, yeah, join my masterclass. Or if you've never taken grant writing before, I always suggest taking some kind of class. And that will keep you from going through a whole lot of trial and error and still not getting success. Whether you take a class with me or anywhere else, I suggest taking a class if you're new to this, okay? So those are, let's see, we had 16 people that had registered, but those are all my questions. So Judy, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I do. Number one, I want to say thank you. I just can't tell you how honored and how excited I am to be back with you. And we rub shoulders and we talk. Always, you don't remember, but you'll remember me now. But we talked about,
and your face looks familiar, but at
yes,
CEO Space, remember, we would meet hundreds of people.
hundreds of
And then
people.
we'd be
Yes,
teaching there for over 10 years. I met
yes. But
so,
from this point on, you'll remember me 10 years from now. And I want to make sure I have that presence, in your life. So yeah, I did have a couple of questions for you, but also I just wanted to backtrack on what you said about the lady about the criticality of if you have a ministry, make sure it's separate, because we're Women Who Care ministries, and sometimes funders wouldn't even tell us that they opted out from funding us because in their mind they thought that we would be non-secular. They thought that we would use the funds to prophesize and bring people to Christ. So
you can be eliminated just because of your name. They won't
and
even.
sometimes they won't even tell you. But then when they would tell me, so that, but just knowing that that's where they're coming from. So we're Women Who Care ministries. I would make it clear, even if sometimes I would call the grant administrator. I was like, yes, we're the Helping Kids Eat Weekend Meal Program. Under the umbrella of Women Who Care ministries. But we would make it clear in all of our language that we provide food regardless of race, religion or whatever. That you don't have to be Christian, you don't have to be Black, you don't have to be anything. We made it very clear, the language that we used, that we served everybody, that it was a non-secular program.
Tell me this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you only work there in the Maryland area, or have you ever held any workshops that are national or even international?
No, and that's one, and that leads into my questions. To answer your question, we were always in the quote unquote DMV, which is District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia.
Yes.
DMV. I like the way that sounds. So, but yeah, I am what I'm getting my questions. I'm getting ready to talk to you about how, even though we'll first maybe, in needing funding in the DMV, how we want to be able to branch out and become international with where the ministry is going. So thank you for asking me that. But something made you ask me that. Why did you ask me that?
Because if I were you, I would change your name to be Women Who Care, like International Foundation.
Or women? Okay.
But because people know your brand already, that can be your program name under the foundation. And
Mhm.
that would eliminate people judging you the moment they hear your name. The
I
the
like that.
YMCA went through rebranding.
Mhm.
And they changed from being the Young Men's Christian Association to just the Y for that same reason.
Mhm. You're
Okay.
right, because there was a ministry in Rockville, Maryland, and it was called Community Ministries. They changed to Interfaith Works, and so what we are underneath that, everybody knows this is Women Who Care Ministries, but they're also becoming more familiar with Women Who Care Community Outreach,
Yes.
and
So,
so yeah,
so
but
that way
I
you
like the Women Who
change the
Care
name.
International. Yeah,
That's just on your paperwork and when you're submitting for grants, but people still will know your brand already.
right,
And
right.
even if you already have shirts with the name, materials, if you have your Women's Who Care Foundation or International Foundation, but under it, you would say a Women Who Cares Ministries
Subs.
projects, then
Yes, yes.
all of the stuff where you have your name on it still can be utilized.
A subsidiary. Yeah, and we're 23 years old. So that is one of the things why I'm so excited about you, because we are looking at rebranding. Girl, you are awesome. We're going to do some work together. We're going to have you do some work with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course,
Thank
I'll
you,
talk to you
darling.
offline about that. But now,
Okay.
so the questions, this segs into the questions. I told you that we primarily for the past 23 years have been working with abusive women, holding domestic violence workshops, also fighting child hunger and
Yes.
families by providing nutritious weekend meals, and then even the parents, they get the non-perishables and the perishables, meaning the produce, the fresh meats, and things like that. Now, we get money from the government. We're getting a nice chunk of money from the government, something to the tune of $372,000, which it was more, but and so let's say 425,000 when you look at the individual donors who give towards fighting child hunger. As we transition, we want to replace that $425,000 before we say no, thank you, I'll pass. To that current program. I mean, on that level, we want to be able to start building grants somewhere to the tune of 300,000, 400,000 through the expanded programs. And so I like how you were showing online. So what the expanded program means is that we want to, for free, speak in recovery centers, domestic violence abuse centers, and then again, like we said, upper echelon successful women's centers, giving this empowerment for free. And then also on the sideline, also going to be looking for some non-restrictive grants. So
Now,
my question to you is,
don't say
should I,
just for free. You can
hmm?
offer it to organizations depending on their operating budget. If they're just starting out or whatever, you can do those for free, but also know that you can have fee for service.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. So
And
we could
so
hit, yeah, we could hit some so we could hit some like Montgomery County, like they have like Avery Road Treatment Center. We can find out what's in their budget and have them pay us to do X amount of workshops with women in
absolutely,
recovery. Okay,
absolutely.
like
And that's why you can start going international immediately, because you can start marketing yourself out to speak to other organizations that want to get to where you are.
mhm,
And now you're doing consulting with
mhm.
other organizations and helping them to learn how to grow and be sustainable. And you can have fees for that the same way that I do, like for my master classes.
That's
But
what I'm going to talk
also,
to you offline about. I want you to get me there. I want you to, I want you to, me and you I'm going to talk to you offline about, your fees to teach me how to have fees. And so yeah, thank you. That's what I want to do. And so yeah, so for the ones who have the money, fine. But so when I'm searching online, I would probably do three different things. I would do the speaking in recovery centers. I would do the domestic violence, but then what would we call like the successful upper echelon women? What we call them, what we call that just empowerment, because they have depression, they have low self-esteem, Um, it's a myriad of things. So how would the way you were showing the ways to look for grants, what would I put in for like speaking in recovery centers in Maryland
But those
2024?
you would look for dollars for substance abuse
Mhm.
programs, you know, to help with substance abuse or whatever. If you're looking for
Speaking
dollars,
specifically, I don't one of the things I was going to get my addiction counseling certificate, but I want to just speak. I want to go and I do that. I go into jails and I go into and I remember there was a jail that you always told me that you guys were working with back then.
Chino.
But
I was
huh?
working in Chino at the time, Chino
Sis-
in Chino, California, at the men's prison.
Yes. I like what you said about, and I like what you said about not just being quote unquote stuck in the DMV, but taking the power, the impetus that we have, and being able to spread it abroad. I like that a lot.
But just know that when you're going to go after speaking dollars, you're not
Mhm.
going specifically after the speaking dollars, you're going after the subject matter or what you're planning to address. Like when I went into the prisons, I didn't go for speaking dollars. I went for helping men that are going to be, helping to combat recidivism, helping
Yeah,
with leadership
reentry
skills.
programs.
So
Like, yeah.
yes, so that's what you're looking for. And speaking is just part of that. Just like with the women that may be of the upper echelon, you're not going for dollars to help women with upper echelon. You're going after dollars to help with depression, loneliness, stress. And so you're looking for what your outcomes are expected to be. And that's the kind of funding that you would be looking for. Okay.
Got you. That
And
because
that's
that's what I want to do. Because just real quickly, because I know we're out of time. So our fiscal year, like for most things through the government, it starts July 1st through June 30. And so I know we're going to get that same big pot of money to do the kids' food program. So even if we did it one more year, I want to use from now until then to transition so that the ministry can operate. But we want to wear a different hat now. There's a lot of people out there feeding kids from COVID that they never shut their doors. So our higher calling, our self-actualization is still empowerment, but empowerment on the next level. Anybody can feed kids. What I mean when I say that more people can feed kids than can do the things that me and our team are doing. So we want to do that higher level thing now.
yes. And when you're going after more dollars, you're not only feeding kids, you're looking at what are the problems or issues that you're also addressing. So instead of just looking for dollars to feed the kids, you're
Which
helping
is a
with their
band-aid.
self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping with their literacy because, like you said when we had that conversation earlier, you can't think if you're hungry. So you're
Yes.
helping with literacy. You're helping with bullying prevention because kids that are usually hungry or from low income a lot of times are
Mm-hmm.
teased. So all of the things that you're helping to address,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to identify those, and that's the kind of funding that you can go after.
Gotcha. And so my goal is to eventually have the pot of funding from the government replaced, even if it doesn't come from Montgomery County government. There's a plethora, there's trillions out there with our name on it.
Oh,
Just
over
being able
90
to,
billion
yes,
out
yes,
there that is non-government, and that's
right.
annual.
And we
And
don't even
so,
need that. We'll just, even just because of what we've been built up, even just 500,000 to 750,000 would do what we needed to do.
yes,
So
yes. And
great,
now,
thank you.
just in closing out, for anyone that wants to see the past recorded shows, this is on my website, and it says here, get informed, see previous free Q&A sessions.
Mhm.
So you will go to the link that says Q&A with Sherita, and let me just show the link that it so you can see that. This is, oh, it's not up there like that. Well, Q&A, it just looks kind of strange. But what you would do is you would go to my website, and where it says Q&A with Sherita, you will go there. And then when you scroll down, like you see where you registered, but this, I'm showing you guys this because for those of you that want different kinds of coaching, if you want 15 minutes with me, it's $25. If you want 30 minutes with me, it's $75. If you want an hour, it's $150. If you want ongoing coaching that's beyond this, call me so I can talk about, see what your needs are, what kind of coaching you may need, and then we can talk about a rate for, like I've done 4 months of coaching before, a pastor out of Compton, I worked with him for a year. So, and these aren't popping up yet, but this is where you will see the previous recordings, like the one from today will end up being here. So again, I want to thank you guys, and I'm sorry, I don't know what happened as far as usually when you register, you get the link so you can get right in. So based off of my phone calls today, something happened and some of you could not get in. I apologize, but we'll make sure that we get that corrected. Judy, thank you for hanging with me.
Oh,
And
absolutely. I'm so excited. You have no idea, but you will know. Yes. So,
so
and
again, I want to thank you for being on, and I'm so glad that we're reconnected. I
yes,
can't
you'll
wait to
remember
talk
me
to you
this
more.
time. Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you
I
remember
knew you
Peggy
looked
Morris?
familiar. I just didn't know from
Yes.
where.
Yeah, it was from Bernie, and yeah, it was from Bernie, and I'm trying to think where else. Did you? Oh, FraserNet, of course.
FraserNet at
Yeah,
PNC.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah, yep.
good,
That
good,
that's
good.
the two places, and then also Sister to Sisters Network, Peggy Morris. You
Tell
connected with
Peggy
her.
hi.
Yeah, I will tell her that's my girl. I'm actually sitting on the board of Sisters for Sisters Network.
Please
So
tell her
when I
hello.
tell her I've connected with you, Peggy and some of her posse, some of us going to be
Yeah,
on that March call.
yeah, yeah.
Because
You know
Sisters
what?
for Sisters.
She took me somewhere. I'm going to be going to Maryland, to the area soon, and I'll let you know. But she
Oh,
took me somewhere, girl, and I'm thinking it was called Milk and Honey. I think they had the
a bad
best
and bad.
grits. They had the best grits and shrimp that I've ever had. I mean, I tried to duplicate it. I've tried it in other
It
places.
wasn't, but was it Busboys and Poets?
No, I'm thinking the place
Okay.
was called Milk and Honey, unless
Okay.
they changed the name. But ask Peggy, because
Okay.
she took me and it was so good that I had to go twice,
Okay. And you know what else we would like you to be on? Well,
Yes.
number one, I'm going to be having a podcast soon. It's not ready yet, but Sisters for Sisters Network, we have something called Sisters for Sisters Live. And one is the entrepreneurship. I'm not sure where you would
Uh-huh.
fit, but I'm gonna tell her we would love to have you come on and speak to us
Absolutely.
on one of those Saturdays about what you do and what you offer. So I'm gonna tell Peggy,
Absolutely.
guess what? I recruited Sherita, and I mean, no, I re-recruited her for the Sisters for Sisters Live,
Okay.
but also Sisters for Sisters Network want to want you to do some stuff because we're struggling with grants over there, and they need your kind of, and I've told her I can help them, but they need your impetus to kind of even, help get them to the next level. So,
Okay.
so it
Okay.
was no mistake that everything is in divine order,
Everything's in
and
divine order.
and
Thank you,
so even
Lord.
before the next one, I'm going to be reaching out. I'm in the process of closing on a house, but that I have to make this a priority. So I'm gonna get in touch with you the
Let's
first of
talk
next
about
week.
that. Now, I don't know what you want to do with your house, but another client, she was getting this large house, but she was alone and her daughter had left. And I was telling her how there's a lot of women that are empty nesters. And depending on what you're planning on doing with the house, you could, there was another women's organization, Mi Casa, Your Casa,
Ah,
and it was connecting women, but it was putting women together in a house that was helping them to really blossom in their middle age and older years.
I like that. That might be what I do with this house because I've got two other houses. I'm moving into the brand new house, but that might be something I might start with where
Let's
I'm
talk
sitting
about
right
that.
now and the other one. And we're not even talking about this. I thought you were getting ready to say open it up because Montgomery County has a lot of space that they need for domestic violence and people homeless and stuff like that.
No, you
But
just might
you're
want some
talking about
sisters
regular.
with
You're talking
you
about people.
where it's constant sisterhood,
Yes, and they
and you're creating you're creating your tribe until these women are ready to move out and get their own place or whatever,
yes.
and so
Even
much.
like a 6 month lease, it would have,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
and that 6 month lease that
Might be
recurs
newly
month to month
divorced,
afterwards.
you know,
Yes,
or
yes.
has lost
Newly,
lost a husband.
or maybe
And
newly in recovery, but again, they would have to have X amount of months, maybe 6 months clean, as
yes,
opposed to straight out the rehab,
yes,
just for stability and not to cause toxicity to the house.
yes.
Girl, I tell you, that's what I remember you. You just had everything. You're like, there's a grant for you. There's a grant. You're just
I was going
awesome.
to say, and grants then would instead of you paying the mortgage, now grants would do that because it is now an empowerment structure versus
Mhm.
just your personal home.
It could even
And then
be
if you
Judy's
decide for it,
Empowerment Center. Yeah.
yes,
Wow.
okay,
Yes, girl, you're so many things. And so yeah, we want to talk about that. I want to digest everything you said, but then I want to talk to you about what it would look like. And it would be under the ministry, what the fee would be to get us to a certain level. And of course, we might need more than that, but just this to start. You know what I mean? I know we need more than that 1 hour. So I want to talk to you. Is the recorder off?
oh no, and I've got to get ready to go on another
Sure.
session,
Let's talk. We'll talk in
let's,
detail.
you
And
got my
I'm gonna
number.
yeah, I got your number. I got that. Yep, I got that number.
Okay,
And then you'll see I put my number in for Beverly. So go
for
ahead and
Beverly.
snatch
Okay.
that.
Well,
But yeah, I've got
I'll
that.
share it when I send out the recap. I'll share what's
Okay.
in the what's in the chat.
Right,
So
okay.
let's talk after the weekend.
Yes.
It's
Thank
wonderful
you.
to be
I'm so
connected.
excited. I
Thank you.
need you. I want you. I gotta have you, and I'm going to have you. Okay.
Thank you,
And I'm
darling.
here for you too. I come with what I'm willing to pour into what you're doing.
And we're going to
to
have you on the
some degree.
podcast.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So I'll
Okay.
send that email today so I can get on the schedule. All right.
Thank you, dear.
God
Talk
bless
to
you.
soon.
Thank
God
you,
bless
sis.
you.
I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to tell Peggy that we're connected. Yes. Okay, great.
All
Thank
righty.
you. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.